Hello, good afternoon. Let's wake you up. Because you know what? We are talking about family offices, and you know we all come through the school system, and you know that the coolest kids always sit on the back rows, and the coolest kids always come the last. So I'm very happy to introduce family offices because I think family offices are the coolest players in capital markets. And why they are coolest? Because first of all, family offices, they all have the skin in the game. This is the most vibrant capital, this is the most lean, and sometimes the fastest capital. And when we were preparing for the panel, and when I heard where these families and advisors of the families, where they put the capital and where they invest the capital, then it felt to me to describe the best the capital of family offices. It's like a water that flows between the stones and that fills in the space between the stones. So please welcome my fellow panelists. We'll start with Michel Prent, BDO's Family Wealth Services, the Netherlands.
Hello, everyone.
Siksnans, the first unicorn of Latvia, and Draugiem capital, but you're later going to say why it's Draugiem. Martti Andresson, MA1 capital, Estonia. And then Raimondas Streimikis, Zabolis partners, Lithuania.
Yeah?
Good afternoon. Happy to have you. So, our panel consists very diverse list of people representing family offices and family offices advisors, and Davi's young family office, Raimondas, 30 years in investment business, Michel advising all the family offices all around, and Martti coming from Estonia, which is maybe the most growing markets when we talk about the family offices. So we were talking about that you are like the water filling in the space between the stones. So let's first start by introducing where do you invest, what's your investment strategy, assets allocation, and the markets, what you're looking at. So starting from Raimondas.
Yeah, so hello everybody. It's a pleasure to be here. So I started my journey in investment business in the year 1993, so together with stock exchange when started in Lithuania. I was broker, I was advisor on sell side, on buy side, advisor to government on privatization. After that, moved to investment, private equity. Also, last year joined business angel community, so just looking for investment in startup. Also managing some assets. Our strategy where we invest together with other investors, mostly also family offices, is in three directions. First, it's real estate. We believe in Vilnius as capital, who is still growing, and we believe it will grow for coming 10 years. And we now in pipeline 200,000 square meters in prime location in Vilnius Central Business District to develop, and we believe it will be a good opportunity to invest. Second is a little bit different area, it's deep tech. We also invest a lot in edutech, laser, semiconductor, Amazon trading platform, also investing in IT, in software as a service company. And third direction is clean tech, because we, from our previous experience, we invested for 10 years in renewable energy, and we see that this opportunity now, just a lot of clean tech approach investment in companies. Also, in line with that is onshoring. It's moving production or manufacturing from China to to Baltic states, so Europe. And for that, it's also a lot of capital need to be deployed. Allocation currently of it's Baltic states. It means that companies operating in Baltic states, but revenues is across the world. As I mentioned, Amazon is working all around the globe.
Martti.
Hello, pleasure to be in Riga again. Thank you for inviting everyone. I lead a family office in Estonia, and I work closely together with a few other family offices. I manage co-investments on their behalf, build the pipeline, negotiate the deals, and later follow up on the investments.
Hello, everybody. On behalf of Draugiem Capital, we invest mostly in private companies, post-revenue stage. We're very new to this space, only 1 year, and we came up Draugiem Group. For those of you not from Latvia, Draugiem means for friends, because that was our first business we built in 2004, the social network. Overall, we have 19-year history of building 100 different business ideas. About 12 of them still remain to this day. Most well-known being the Printful, the print-on-demand dropshipping service. And last year, we decided to take some of that scaling operational experience and then apply it to invest in other businesses and help them sort of become the future unicorns. So I focus mostly on private company investments, but as a group, we also hold public equity investments, and we also invest in bonds and other asset classes.
Michel, why do family offices come to you? And we discussed when we prepared to the plan.
Yeah.
What is family office in the end?
Yeah, that's a good question. And hello, everybody in the room. Let's do a short introduction of what I'm doing. Like Kaidi said, I'm a family business and family wealth advisor at BDO in the Netherlands. So I'm not an investor, I'm not a private banker, I'm a family business, family wealth advisor. And I advise families with the business, with family wealth, how to organize their wealth, succession planning, good communicating with each other, thinking and developing a family strategy concerning the family business and family wealth. And organizing, you ask me what is a family office? There is not such a thing as one family office. There isn't a blueprint. So when you do this, okay, you have a family office. I always say when you have seen one family office, you only have seen one family office. Because a family office is like a hybrid thing. It's growing, and it's all about family and organizing their wealth. And it starts with that wealth. And where does that wealth come from? It comes from the family business. When you're doing well, you're generating wealth. Perhaps you're selling the business, or perhaps just the business is doing so good, you're growing wealth. And at the time you want, or you feel the need to organize that. And you do that as a family. You do that with a trusted advisor, and there it starts. And it becomes bigger, it becomes greater, it becomes more complex. Next generation is involved, and I think that's something that's really important here in Latvia. The next generation is coming, and what to do with the next generation. It means more owners, more households to take care of, how to organize the family business, the family wealth. That's in short what I'm doing.
Perfect, perfect. So if you think about actually what's the role of the family officer, or actually if you think about the list and the longer the list of family offices in every single country, that's the clear sign of maturity of capital markets. And it's like one cycle has finished and now the new cycle can start, because it's, as you mentioned, is investing one's own wealth, meaning yes. We created wealth, here in Baltics, we've been able to create wealth, which we now invest.
Or want to invest. and you're thinking about investing it and how to invest it.
Yeah. So you've been working with family offices quite a while, and not only looking the local markets in the Netherlands, but also looking at the European markets. What do you see are the trends with family business, family investments, asset allocations? You mentioned new generation.
There are some trends. Trends that are going at this moment in the family office world, so to say, is that there are big worries about macroeconomic events, geopolitical developments, and it makes family offices think about their investments, and they think about what to do with all this uncertainty that is coming to us. And you see they are shifting their allocations to a short duration fixed bonds, and they are working towards active management. We see an increase of private equity activities. And also a trend, what we are seeing, is the next gen that is coming. And the next gen that is thinking different than the current generation. I have a son, he's 21. There were people in this room that have also children of that age, perhaps a little bit younger, a little bit older, but they grew up in a different era than we grew up in. They're more globalized thinking. Internet is all over there. The next generation wants to make impact, is thinking about good doing, willing to do good, is thinking about ESG, is thinking about philanthropy. And not always is it the case that their parents are thinking the same way as the kids are doing. And there you have a generational difference, which is very normal in all of the families. But it's something you have to deal with as a family office. And that's a trend we see. A trend we also see, and that's nothing new. So is it a trend? But it's something really important, is that we see that family offices don't have a good, effective succession planning. So they're not aware of the risks they are taking with that, where you don't have a good emergency succession planning. What will happen when the owner of more owners will die? And then, what about continuity of the wealth, continuity of the business? It's huge risk. And I think it's really important to take care of a good emergency succession planning. So that are some trends.
Yeah, I fully agree, and we'll later talk about the impact and impact investment as well, and the change in generation. Davis, you are the one that represents the new generation and a new generation of family offices. Not only you just set it up like a year ago, but my question is, why did you do it, and where do you invest? Do you see your investments different than generation before you?
We set it up because we finally had some capital to invest in. First of all, like for family offices to appear here, you need an exit event, you need a liquidity event. For instance, in our group, we sold a company last year, which is a vendor and telematics company that we did. And that is still going to need to happen, especially in Latvia. In Estonia, you have way more like exits already with Skype way back, and I believe that there has been already a generational change with Skype. I believe one of the original programmers on Skype passed away, so I don't know what exactly happened there, but hopefully that lives through sort of family generation. We believe we need to start early. I hope that Draugiem and the things we have created through Prentful will be preserved for ideally multiple generations. Will have a positive effect on this region. And we're starting to professionalize it, and by dabbling ourselves in the first investments. And we generally look for where we have a previous experience. We don't have like a specific angle that we will invest in these companies, but we have mostly experience in e-commerce, SaaS, vertically integrated manufacturers. I think over time we might add an angle, but I think in the Baltics are relatively small that you need to be a bit of a generalist. You need to look at everything that is available here, and you cannot just pick one niche.
So in a way, you are the trendsetter in Latvia when we talk about the family offices. But you also mentioned when you made your introduction that you invested in bonds and some public assets. So what's the allocation between the private, early stage companies and then very late stage and public companies?
We want to have capital available should we see an opportunity to invest. So mostly it's actually public equities, but not Baltic equities because of liquidity issues that exist in the Baltic markets. However, we see bonds more liquid than sometimes in a case of Baltic publicly listed equities. But we see really attractive bond interest coupons that I believe Aldo has already mentioned multiple times here. Sometimes often better than you would get in Western Europe and US, and because of home bias, we see an opportunity we would buy a local bond as well. But generally, it's a liquid asset that we, for the right opportunity, will convert in a investment into private company.
Okay. Martti, so many times Estonia was mentioned that not only in a way the land of unicorns, but land of exited unicorns and those families and capitals available and the capital actually very actively investing, not only in local market, but Baltic markets when we talk about the VCs and capital. So how does Estonia look like when we talk about the family offices and what do you see trends?
I think the most important trend is that family offices are taken now as a serious source of capital. It used to be that when, for example, LHV raised equity or debt, then they knocked on the doors of the fund managers only. Now I can also say that I participate with a meeting.
They found your door?
Yes, so they found my door, and I had a very nice meeting with the CEO of LHV, and the family offices are now becoming more professional. So they are professional counterparties to the issuers, and I think they also give valuable insight to the companies of how to run their business and think with them, and then they also spend a lot of time with the companies. So I think that they are also smart money in a way. And since they care about their own capital, they manage their own capital, they have the tendency to be more focused on the entrepreneurs. And I see a clear trend that in the cap tables of Estonia's success stories, there are family offices.
You also mentioned that you sit in several boards of the companies you've invested capital, so that's pretty like, in a way, personal investments, and you contribute to the success of the companies directly.
Absolutely, and oftentimes it's one of the representatives of family offices that actually brings the investors together and leads the bunch. I have tried to remove everything about me from LinkedIn. My profile is empty. I don't brag about any supervisory board positions, but there are many, yes.
Excellent. Raimondas, you've been in this business for like many years, but when you spoke about investments, you don't talk about this like a very traditional investments. You talk about deep tech, impacts, innovation, clean tech. Why?
How to say, it's also real estate. It's also a traditional investment.
That's as well.
Because we invest there where we see opportunities, one thing. Second thing, you need to diversification for your investment, and you also need for growth. So you need to earn return, not for yourself, but also for your investors. Yeah. So, and we managing that in investment, and also, as you mentioned, for us it's also important to see impact. So, for example, on our journey to renewable energy for 10 years, we participated in conversion in Lithuania of district heating market from gas to renewable energy. And from that we learn a lot, and now I'm quite proud that, for example, in Kaunas city, district heating is, I guess, most cheapest in Baltic states, because we we meet that impact and we create competition. So it's also not just money, but it's also impact, as you mentioned.
I understand it's a bit, when we think about the entrepreneur point of view, it's a bit easier to get capital for real estate because there are several sources, but to be a deep tech entrepreneur, where do you go for the capital, and you are there?
So we seeded ourselves, and just after that we keen to make a club deal, so invited investors, and if somebody is happy to join, believe in us, so we invest together with us. In one case, in renewable, we invest with one family. In financial services, we invest with another company, so case by case.
Family offices in Lithuania.
It's growing, and I can confirm that a lot of money is in family offices. Just a very small example is just in 3 years investment in so-called cumulative investment fund. It's doubled from 1 billion in year 2020 till 2 billion in this year. So it's mean 1 billion just from nothing come to the funds, and we invested that money somewhere. So it's one point. Second, I think it's family offices where they still feel a lot of sentiments to their previous business, because if they come from agriculture, so most probably they'll be keen to invest also in business related to agriculture. If it's come from retail, so probably look for additional investment to retail, as Davis mentioned, because we have expertise in that areas. To persuade to invest in other areas, it's quite difficult, actually. Also, on the way to investment, we also have a lot of investment in real estate, and we see now that a lot of family offices or their managers traveling abroad to United States, particularly. It's very often in last year and this year that we're looking for opportunities to diversification and invest in United States. Probably also important that level of risk to preserve capital is now growth, and instead of one digit, it's come now to two digits, because return on bonds is also above 10% now everywhere. So you will find easily a lot of opportunities to invest in there.
Mm-hmm. Let's now go to the headline of the conference, Baltic capital markets and companies here. And Davis, I actually have a question to you to start with. You mentioned that, yeah, I do invest in public markets, but not in Baltic markets. What would be your advice to local heads of exchanges? What should they do that you would start investing in local capital markets? And let me tease you even more, to list your company in local markets.
And I think the heads of exchanges here in Baltic should fight for exciting companies, cut them, the most possible best deal ever, but list some tech companies on Baltic exchanges. I think we need more companies that are really export companies in Baltics to be listed, not just companies who have mostly local market and have a limited export potential. And I think that could draw in some of the international investors. And the head of exchanges really need to get the Baltic exchanges connected to worldwide trading platforms. Me as representing a slightly younger generation, I don't want to call a broker in a bank and ask them to buy a bond or equity. It needs to be absolutely traded in a mobile app. For instance, my primary trading app is Interactive Brokers. You cannot buy Baltic equities in Interactive Brokers, one of the leading brokerage places in the world. So I don't know how that could be solved. I'm not sitting at that table, but that would be one of my priorities. So once it's done, I think we can get more international investors in, and we need exciting companies. Hopefully some of the unicorns from Estonia list, like Bolt, that has a lot of market in Europe and Africa.
Printful?
We went on that path with Printful, but with Printful is very difficult would be to list here, because most of the customer base is in the United States. It's very US type of business, so best exit would be seeking there. But if it was the other way around, we would kind of look if we can help to develop the local markets. In our group, we do have other businesses. I'm on a board of Mapon, which is a car fleet business, and the business is mostly Baltics, Finland, and Denmark. So there, there we're looking at local markets, bond issuance, maybe down the road even public markets as well. So we'll hope with other group companies to develop the capital markets.
Okay, Martti, how do you see Baltic capital markets and then also the public markets? Your assets there.
Yeah, well, family offices generally have a very high share of privately held assets, non-public equities and real estate and what you may call alternative investments. Honestly, we do too, so that we even more, how to say it politely, but the most interesting stuff happens on non-public markets, and the success stories actually trade there. We have bought into Bolt on the secondary market, as well as into other companies that are not yet publicly traded. And I agree totally with Davis that something needs to be done to get them to trade on public markets. But currently, I think there is lack of attractiveness to be doing the IPO and then being in the spotlight when you can easily operate without it.
Yeah, isn't this in a way like the challenge or the fight between the private and the public markets, that both of them think that they're most interesting, they're most successful for the entrepreneurs, but in the end, investors need also exits. So where's the exit?
Well, in family offices case, at least we do not look for a quick exit. I mean, that's also one thing that's different. Well, the family offices are becoming institutions. They hire professionals. But other than that, they have quite different characteristics than, for example, VC funds or private equity funds, because they don't have this 5 or 7 year exit plan.
Yes.
They can be in, we have positions that we have had 20 years.
Yeah.
And which are actually financial investments. They are not, and I mean, the sweetest years are usually from the 7th year, so.
Yeah, perfect. That's where I wanted to get, because family office capital, it's a patient capital, it's a long-term capital, it is skin in the game capital, and as examples what Raimondas you explained, this is the long-term investment. You really are there for more than 10 years. So how do you see family office's role in Baltic capital markets?
I think it's will improve at the investment if we can cooperate, because typical situation what we see now that is one investment, you're working with one family office. If just you try to attract 2 or 3 family offices, typically they object. So they just won't be alone in that and to, how to say, manage that all that show. And I believe, and with what we're trying to do now, it's we try to, how to say, not teach, but to improve that connection between Lithuanian family offices and offices abroad from Germany, from Switzerland, from Austria, and that we will learn from them and cooperate and just try to share ideas and just not scare that somebody will steal their ideas for investment. That is very important, I think. And in that case, you will create a bigger bunch of capital who can invest, and after that, on exit, it will be potential for stock exchange.
Yeah. I think, yeah, that's like the next stage in growing up or in the aging of family offices, is that single family offices become collaborating with the other family offices, so it's like a syndication of family offices can fill in pretty large stake in the investment or even IPO. Michel, Baltic capital markets and family offices and advising, how do you see it, how it's growing and where else family offices could take a seat?
What I do know from Baltic State family offices, what my colleagues told me, and what I see, it's to say it politely at the beginning, and that has all to do with family businesses only started about 30 years ago, since independence of the Baltic states. So it's growing, it's developing. And I think that's a very challenging situation for family businesses and for family offices, because that first generation businesses are now thinking about succession, now thinking about what to do with all that wealth and all that money. And we have to develop as a family office. We have to make choices. What are we going to do? Are we going to transfer this business, this wealth to our next generation? Or are we not going to do that? And we are going to do that, how to organize that. It asks from family offices here in the Baltic states to continue to develop in competencies from the family office itself, the employees who are working in family offices. They need to continuously develop. The family also needs to professionalize itself, depending on how involved they are in a family office itself. Are they working in a family office or not? And I think it's really important for family offices in the Baltic states to work on good, solid governance structures. It's really important. Think about risk. How many risks do you want to take as a family office? How risk averse or how risk appetite are you? It's very important to think about that before. Think about succession planning. I already told it is really important. Yeah.
Excellent.
Yeah, I can keep talking. So I know. So
No, it's about talking, but it's about also the families that invest, or the younger generation invest to be more institutionalized, and not in the bad way, but more like a professionalism and structured, more structured and deep. Yeah, but all of you mentioned the word impact when you spoke about, and actually the new generation investing differently, but actually looking for additional aspects of investments, and all these impact investments. When you look at the numbers, they actually return much higher returns for the investors in financial returns, not only social returns. And we have a debate opened in Estonia that if the government doesn't do something with the energy sources, and if the companies don't work harder on implementing also impact strategies, and when we talk about impact, we talk about people and planets, then companies become more and more uninvestable when we talk about international capital. So who wants to take the lead and talk about how do you see impact in your investing? And is it important for you?
Well, we don't have an angle to specifically invest in companies with ESG angle, but I think we promote it with the companies the group has and the companies where group has invested. Our largest company, Prent, for instance, is trying to make societal change in Latvia happen. We've been really active as one of the largest companies in rights of LGBTQ plus rights, which are not still on the same level in Latvia as they are in Estonia, already resolved. So we've been active and tried to kind of pull in other big companies. Even we had some participation from Swedbank to help promote that. So I think those are some of the initiatives we can do, not necessarily in deploying the capital, but these companies already are large and their activities can bring about positive change.
But that's the thing, because when you think of one of the most impactful companies in the planet, Patagonia, they are manufacturing outdoor clothing, so there's nothing impactful, but the way they operate their daily business makes them the most impactful company. So you're absolutely on the right direction while introducing these impact measures on the daily operations. Raimondas, you're in.
Yeah, in discussion, it's also with family offices, always, it's not always, but quite often, it's emotional decision. So you provide figures, but at the end, it's like, yes, I will do that investment because it's either reduce traffic jam in city or it will help with education. As your example yesterday, as you mentioned, with that deep tech game for girls, unicorn. So sometimes it's emotional, and this final decision who get that, helping to take decision.
Martti, impact.
We promote values in companies. We invest in companies where we see that the founders have the ethical integrity and other values in place. And I think that it itself already then manifests in the future in the green initiatives, in being not wasteful, and also treating the society and other people respectfully.
Impact in the activities you advise.
As a family office, you have to be aware of impact investing. You have to deal with it, so to say. And why? Because your next gen is asking for it, is demanding it. A lot of research has been done to it. It's a really trend. Next generation wants to make the difference in the world, wants to make impact in the world, is demanding that from the leaders, is demanding that leadership from the family to make impact, to do impact investing, to do ESG investing. So you have to deal with it. The next gen is demanding it. So yeah, get in touch with your next gen, co-communicate with your next gen about what to do.
Mm-hmm. Questions from the audience. One I picked and I like very much. What keeps you up at night? What are you worried about in the current environment? Whoever picks it.
I'm a good sleeper, so I'm not that a worried type, so to say. But I do think about all geopolitical developments in the world. It's going very fast. What's happening nearby, Ukraine, but also now Israel, China, India, the BRICS lands. It's going very fast. There's happening a lot.
True.
So, not that I'm really worried, but I think it's something to take care of and to look at.
Yeah. Others?
I agree. The same geopolitical tensions, especially Ukraine. It seems that this applies to other family offices as well, because now UBS, Rothschild, other Swiss banks have become really active in the Baltics. People are opening bank accounts in Switzerland and elsewhere, just in case, for emergency reserve.
You two want to comment?
It's same geopolitical issues. It's just such a shame that, at least in Latvia, you spend so much time focused on Eastern markets, which are completely now closed. On a positive side, all that energy now is going to, helping the businesses from this region towards go Western markets, and I think that's always been the future of our Baltic states and will be. But yeah, it's those issues because that they are also slowing down markets, and for later stage companies, especially if you invest privately, we need exits for healthy, viable markets, and those exits are kind of hold up by geopolitical issues, as well as interest rates in banks, but I hope that resolves, because we need exits.
Here's also a comment for you. Whoever mentioned it can go to Davis and explain. You can buy Baltic shares in Interactive Brokers.
So you can what?
You can buy Baltic shares in Interactive Brokers.
Well, then someone please come up to me and tell me
Yes.
how, because it's not working for me, and I've written to Interactive Brokers support and saying that, sorry, you will not have Baltic markets in your account.
And you worry.
Besides geopolitics as well, for me, economic is also very important, and I worry that long transition to high interest rate will not become recession.
Excellent. Thank you very much. Thank you, the coolest capital in Baltics. And
Thank you.
And don't forget to knock on family office's door when next you need a capital. Thank you. Thank you.
Thank you.